I thought I would start a little series. I had an unusual living situation childhood. Um, I lived where my dad worked. He was essentially the maintenance manager of a development, 126 units. They came in quads. They were attached units. Some had garages, some didn't. Some had 2 bedrooms, some had 1, things like that. There was a community pool. And he was in charge of anything and everything of that community. And, he did irrigation, he did painting, he did the carpentry, he did roof repair, he did pavement repair, he did pool maintenance. There were companies to come out to do the bigger jobs, but he did almost all of it until he couldn't because the job might have been too big. And eventually my mom went on the board of directors. It was an interesting childhood simply because essentially my dad was on call 24/7, and I pretty much knew every single person who lived in the development, and I participated essentially in also maintaining the development. I was the only child in the development. While it was not a 55 and older community, it's just that all the people who lived there were 55 and older, and my parents were the youngest to live there, and so that meant I was the only child to live there. And my day-to-day life was unique. I have not really met any other person in my social circle who lived my type of childhood, and I never wished for it to be different, because I can't imagine how others didn't live a life like mine, because it was just what my life was. And now I can look at it, with rose-colored, endearing glasses, whereas I know my parents probably struggled a lot just with that type of life of essentially you're on call 24/7, even though you're not paid as such. So I thought I would maybe just drop little stories of things, because my kids, they love hearing about my childhood and the stories. And it warms my heart because it reminds me of when I would ask my dad to tell me his childhood stories, because it just seemed so different than mine or any other childhood, because, it was a different time and place for him. So I thought I would sometimes share a random story that would not divulge personal information or location, even though unfortunately probably most of the residents have passed on. So yeah, I just thought it might be fun to share some random stories. And if you're interested, I hope you enjoy them.